From courtside of the virtual hardwood, it's the NLSC Podcast, a weekly show for basketball gamers and hardcore hoopheads. This is episode 551. I'm Andrew in our forum, Andrew NLSC on X. Joining me as always, my co-host Derek, DP3 in the forum, and DP3G and DP384 on X. Derek, we are here to talk about basketball gaming as always, but for a small fee, you can unlock our totally unrelated podcast on croquet. Not really, but with that in mind, please tip us off with this week's agenda.
Yeah, so first we will discuss the patch notes as it relates to the first major patch for NBA 2K25. Second, we will get into our main topic, which involves features and or mini games that do not belong in basketball video games, with the main focus being on Gravity Ball, Andrew, which was added to NBA 2K25 as DLC. And lastly, we want to discuss an issue at the heart of the modding community, paid mods. So you have those patch notes in front of you. It's the first major patch for 2K25. I've been playing the game consistently even after the patch, and I haven't really noticed any big differences with the gameplay. It doesn't feel more sluggish or it doesn't feel faster. Apparently, one of the notes is that they curved or altered the way passing lane steals work, but I haven't noticed a difference in that regard either. I'm still getting in the passing lanes the same as I was before the patch, but apparently there were quite a few gameplay adjustments by the devs.
So I have to ask, that awesome interception you had in the top 10 plays this week, was that post-patch?
That was pre-patch. But I played last night and I had almost the same type of inbound steal, where I was able to get in the middle of the passer and receiver and intercept the ball, and we went down the other way and scored. So, like I said, I'm not really noticing a difference. Maybe people online notice more of a difference. As you know, I play the offline content. I'm playing my NBA, playing, a WNBA season, etc. Sometimes play now. But, I'm not noticing a big gameplay difference offline.
I think the biggest thing that I've seen from people who do play online is they feel that shooting has been adjusted a bit, that it has been buffed, and there's, of course, mixed feelings about that. People who feel it's too easy, that the cheesers and the newbies have been catered to, which is obviously a point of contention with the elitists and certainly the actual elite players as well, who want that challenge and that skill gap. That's something that I have seen on X, a few people comment on. I haven't actually had a chance to play with the patch yet. Is that something you've noticed with shooting at all?
Again, for me, I'm not noticing a difference. Shooting feels the same for me. And for us, that's great. Like, I would like the gameplay to stay the exact same as it did on release day. Like old times, Andrew, right?
Oh, yeah.
You get used to the game, you get used to those mechanics. And I feel like what you get on release day, barring any major issues with the gameplay, I feel like it should stay relatively the same, right? Because why switch up the gameplay on the entire user base multiple times throughout the cycle? That's one of the reasons why I hate patching, right? And there's been a lot of complaints about that over the years. If you look at, comments under patch notes, the majority of them oftentimes are, leave the game alone,
Yeah.
right? Leave the game alone. Stop messing with the game. Stop messing with the experience. Some people are playing like a My NBA or whatnot, or they play consistently with friends and all of that stuff, and they're used to that gameplay, and then all of a sudden their My NBA gameplay gets switched up, or the way their My Team gameplay gets messed with. And now when they play with their friends, the games don't go the same. They go completely different, and the mechanics have changed. So, I hate the leaning on patching, and I hate how often games are patched today. So for me, this is great. Like, first major gameplay patch out the door, and we don't feel any different about the game. So that's good for us right now.
Absolutely, and we do want that consistency. If there are any major issues, we want them to be fixed, and those are issues that we will hopefully as a community be able to reach a consensus on and let the devs know, and the devs can then do something positive about it. But when it does feel like the game changes patch to patch or tuning update to tuning update, because of course they also push through those updates that end up in the sync bin, or they used to on PC, and that tuning file and that updates file in the console version as well. Those also come through in-game in addition to these title updates. But yeah, it's been so frustrating in recent years that the patches do change the game too much, that they are listening to the wrong people sometimes. If there is one advantage of 2K having a monopoly in the space, and I don't normally talk about advantages to a monopoly, Derek, but it's that because they are the only choice in the space, they can not listen to the cheeses. What are the cheeses going to do? They can't play another basketball game. Again, normally I wouldn't call it a good thing, but they can stand firm. They do have a strong product. They do have a successful product. They can say to people who want to change the game for the worse, no, we won't listen to you. We don't care how many followers you have, how big your following is on whatever platform. This is the game we want to present to our user base. And yeah, I'm glad that they are striving for that consistency.
I like that, but I will say that in the past, as we've noted on countless podcasts, oftentimes they're listening to the wrong people.
True.
Or they're listening to a loud minority, right? And oftentimes that's reflected in the gameplay. And then you've seen many instances in 2K's recent past where a major gameplay patch goes through and the majority of people are not having it. They're not loving it, right? It's hurt their gameplay experience, and people think that, and this could be true in some cases, that oftentimes 2K is listening to the wrong people. They're listening to maybe major influencers, right? They have a select number of people who have a lot of followers or subscribers, etc., that they're taking more feedback in from, and those are the people that they're mostly catering to, as opposed to listening to the majority of gamers and whatnot and what they want. So I'm not saying this is always the case, but this has been speculation in the community for quite some time.
And certainly listening to the competitive scene at the detriment of the sim heads. And look, the competitive scene is important to cater to as well, but to that point, we want the game to strive to have that balance, to cater to all kinds of gamers and give everybody the best gameplay possible. If you are focusing too much on the online scene, as we've said before, you can end up tuning the mechanics to a way that doesn't work when you have a CPU opponent, because of course the AI can react much faster than a human can, so those mechanics don't work. Even in the design process, we've seen them come up with ideas, shot aiming and so forth, that work out a lot better in head-to-head situations, don't really work out with traditional offline play, whether it's multiplayer or against the CPU. So it is important to strive for that balance. And again, if they're not chopping and changing, if they are having this consistent gameplay throughout the year, and as we've said before, NBA 2K25, we quite like the gameplay this year. We feel it's the best in a few years. So the fewer changes, the better.
I think the gameplay in NBA 2K25 is superior to 2K24. As I've stated, while I am sinking a lot of hours into 2K25 and we are enjoying it more, I still think it falls behind as far as overall gameplay to games like NBA 2K19, 2K17, 2K16, and whatnot. I think that there's still glaring issues with the player movement. I think the player movement is often just janky. I think that it's the skating in the game, it's the suction, it's the fact that there's no way to play out of the high post and play like a real basketball player. If you try to go one way, you're getting bumped to pick up your dribble, or you're being put into a slow motion side by side. There's no really creating space inside the 3-point line, and it makes oftentimes the gameplay feel very one-dimensional, and it can get frustrating. I think that I'm ready for a new motion system. I think that we may not get that until the new generation of consoles come out, and maybe they truly do build from the ground up at that point. But the way we're playing right now, which is the WNBA, and my brother and I are playing a Legends versus current teams, my NBA, we're getting enjoyment out of it. We've gotten our money's worth, for sure. We're about 200 hours in for playtime, which is a lot in the short span of time since the game has been released. But I will say that this motion system, in my opinion, in a way, is pretty exhausting. I think I have 2K fatigue with it, and I think it just has issues that may never be worked out by the development team. But I will say, somebody asked on the Discord, do we recommend them getting NBA 2K25 this year? I think that if you are a hoop head, if you want a new NBA game, if you mainly use the current teams, because like I said, the current teams are done the best by far as far as the integration of pro play, as far as just the way the players are made overall, the overall accuracy of those teams and the feel of those players on the court. If you have more interest in a basketball video game than just going online, I think that I recommend this game over NBA 2K24, and I think that, you will get your money's worth, right? I think the majority of people that would not get their money's worth are those people that are going to play online. It's the people that are going into that toxic scene. It's going to where the gameplay issues shine the most. It's going to where those predatory mechanics are there, all the gambling mechanics and all the pressure, and you having to start off with a weak player if you don't put money into the game, all of that. I also think that for those who are absolutely fed up with the motion system, especially the retune in 2K20, it may also not be worth your money. You may not get your money's worth with this game because a lot of those issues, like the skating and the janky movement and all that suction, all of that is still there to a degree in NBA 2K25. But right now, I think on Steam, as everybody knows, it's the next gen version this year. On Steam, I think the base game is $48, right? So it's on sale, so $49 US. I think that that's absolutely worth it if you love basketball, are going to mostly use the current teams, and maybe you like to get into roster editing and all that stuff, and you want to enjoy that offline content. I would definitely consider picking up this game. I think it is an improvement over NBA 2K24.
I'll co-sign that, and I think it is the game that both of us feel the most comfortable recommending to our fellow basketball gamers in quite some time. As you said, if you are feeling that 2K fatigue, if you really don't like the feel of recent games, and certainly if you're an online gamer, if you're an online gamer, it's pretty much the only choice to go because you're not going to get as many games on 2K24, 2K23. The servers are going to be offline very shortly. But as far as strongly recommending it, it may not be to your taste. It may not delight as the offline experience has us so far. But I do feel that we can recommend it a bit more strongly, certainly to consider. Get it on sale if you can, if you have an opportunity to try before you buy. This is where video game rentals were so important back in the 90s, Derek. That's why we're so nostalgic for video stores, because we could rent games and play them, even new releases, before we actually bought them if we so chose. So that is something I definitely miss about the 90s there. But no, I've had pretty positive experiences with it so far. I'm also glad to see a lot of technical fixes in the big patch. They did promise that the Season 2 patch would be a huge update, more technical fixes, more likeness updates, more fixes to jerseys and courts and so forth, and they've added a lot of commemorative memorial patches and new sponsor patches, fixed courts, fixed jerseys, etc. A lot of new faces in this update that will presumably continue through at least the next couple of updates. They usually push through a few big updates with new likenesses, new scans, and hair fixes and so forth through the first few months before it just becomes preparations for the new season in my team and my career. But they have fixed a lot of random hangs, technical issues with progression in my team and my career, and quests and so forth. Added some new functionality here and there in my team and my career. Also some fixes in my NBA eras as well. Even issues related to accuracy, such as removing the All-NBA third team from the earlier era when it wasn't part of the awards yet. So all of that stuff is important. Gameplay is paramount, of course. In addition to reducing the effectiveness of pass steals, toning down unrealistic catches when close to the passer, and blind catches facing the wrong way, a recurring issue in NBA 2K, of course, Derek. The patch notes also mention improving shot contest logic for more reliable coverage scores for both perimeter and interior defense. They also mentioned improved responsiveness with dribbling or shooting with the pro stick, reduced delays with catch and shoot, fixed an exploit that made low post fades overly effective, repaired some dribble move branches, including the 720 spin glitch. There's a slight nerf to the post drop step effectiveness. They've cleaned up the double dribble violations on post spin shots, also fixed an unrelated issue that allowed double dribbles to occur in the post without a violation being called. Fixed an issue where the 2K camera flip would get confused on the direction of play when a turnover happened immediately after a rebound. Players will now break out of a go-to shot if moved too far from the shot marker in certain drills. Fixed an issue that made self-alley-oops very difficult to complete in the dunk contest, and also a scoring bug in the dunk contest as well. Fixed a couple of animation packages, including Jordan Clarkson's step-back jumpers and Devin Booker's shimmy fade package. And falling face down on shot landings will only trigger when hit from behind.
So the two things that I noticed related to those patch notes, and the drop step thing isn't game breaking, but we did notice a reduced effectiveness with drop steps. Not as much with the legends, so like not as much with people that are loaded with badges that assist them in the post, but more along the lines of the average player. I feel like it's definitely harder to score inside on a drop step. But we did notice the improved catch and shoot mechanics as far as there is less of a delay. We played, I think, 3 games last night, not using legends, and, you know, driving and kicking to shooters, passing out of the post to shooters, etc. It seems like they're able to catch and go into their shot faster. And one of my issues with this game, and I mentioned it on a previous NLSC podcast, was that there was way too much of a heavy animation delay when players were catching the ball, whether it was coming off screens or they were just spotting up and whatnot. And by the time they ended up catching the ball, the defender was already in their shorts. Even if when they were initially past the ball, they had like 8 to 10 feet of space, right? So I definitely think that is a good improvement to the gameplay, and we did notice that. Lastly, I want to point something out. When you buy this game on PC, Steam gives you a 2-hour window to return the game, right? My recommendation for those people who are on the fence is you could buy the game on sale on Steam. So whether it be right now where there's a sale, or it will go half off at some point or even more. Throw on the game, go into a Play Now game, play for a while, play maybe a couple Play Now games, and get an hour and a half in. If you are like, this is too much like 2K24 and I didn't like 2K24, or you're like, I am just not enjoying this game, I'm not going to get my money's worth, etc., just return it, right? On Steam, you have that option, so you can try the game, and if you don't like it, just get your money back. So that's a point I want to make for those on PC.
Definitely. And we should also note that there are some PC-specific fixes in the Season 2 patch, including some potential fixes for shader-related issues. So, yeah, let us know if you're having less issues after the patch on PC.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any performance issues with it on the 3 PCs that I have it on, and you have not. And while I have seen some people complain about compatibility with specific graphics cards, or, you know, they complain a little bit about some stuttering, etc., that's not loud this year, right? It's not like it has been in the past with PC. I think overall, from what I'm seeing reception-wise, they made this game widely compatible, even with mid-tier gaming rigs. So, yeah, we haven't had any hitches in our PC experience.
Before we go on, a reminder that the NLSC podcast comes out every week on the NLSC, nba-live.com, as well as our YouTube channel. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast apps. If you're listening on any of those apps, we'd greatly appreciate a review. To keep up with the show and everything we're doing with basketball gaming in general, connect with us on social media. On Twitter and Facebook, we are the NLSC. We also have an Instagram, NLSC Basketball, and on YouTube, we're youtube.com/NBA Live Series Center. Once again, visit us at nba-live.com, where in addition to the podcast, you'll also find all of our original content, as well as our forum and modding community.
So, Andrew, if 2K ever wanted to piss off their frustrated player base more, this would be the way to do it. For those who have 2K fatigue, gripes with the gameplay, are bothered by the predatory gambling mechanics, etc., the last thing that they want to see is what looks like a Fortnite knockoff added to the game. But not added for free either, Andrew. Paid DLC. People have to pay for this Fortnite knockoff game called Gravity Ball that was added to NBA 2K25. And you may say, why would they care? They don't have to buy it. Well, the first thoughts for a lot of these gamers are, what the hell is Gravity Ball doing in a basketball video game? Why not dedicate more resources to the basketball portions of the game? And just another greedy tactic by an already greedy company.
So you can already see the defense coming out on social media here and there. It's optional. You don't have to play it. Not everything is for everybody. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. It's not that expensive. I get all that, Derek. I really do. But adding a non-basketball minigame to a basketball game that still has some work to do on the basketball side of things, that could still be doing more with its existing modes, that has nothing to do with basketball, that you have to pay extra for, it just rubs me the wrong way. And here's the other thing. I refer back to haircuts in NBA 2K18 a lot, because that was them testing the waters, and there was backlash then. If they did that now, would there still be the backlash? Or would people say, well, you don't have to customize your player, it's only a little bit of VC, which was an argument that people made back then as well. We've seen them push their luck. We've seen them ramp up the pressure to spend, make things more expensive, and so on and so forth. Who's to say that the city is not going to get more and more modes like this that are going to cost money, or that things are going to be taken out of the game that were previously there for free and are going to cost money? And of course people are going to say, well, you got them for free for years and they've got to make money, and I don't know why people are defending and sticking up for a billion-dollar corporation, Derek, but people certainly like to do that. I refer also to WWE 2K, where a lot of content is now pre-order bonuses, and only in the premium edition of the game. Wrestlers that really should be there by default. Wrestlers that back in the day would be part of the roster out of the gate. So I absolutely disagree that we should just ignore this greedy approach, this adding paid DLC of something that really shouldn't be in a basketball game, when there are other elements of NBA 2K that they should be focusing on. More accuracy in my NBA eras, getting the right branding to appear at the right time, not having mismatched branding when that branding is actually in the game. These are the things that they should be working hard on, not adding a Fortnite knockoff. This is not supposed to be Fortnite with basketball. It's losing sight of what NBA 2K is supposed to be, which was once king of the virtual hardwood. Now, this is the fare of court jesters, Derek.
Yeah, so I want to point out that the overall social media response has not been positive. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. The people that you're stating that are, quote unquote, backing it or saying, well, you don't have to buy it, all of that stuff. From what I'm seeing, that's still the minority, which is nice to see, right? People are pushing back on this,
True.
Right? They're like, why is this being added to a basketball video game? The shills are not winning that war right now. If you look at the comments on videos posted about this, on posts on Twitter, the majority of people are stating, and the most popular comments are stating, what the hell is going on here? Because I asked the community, I said, what are your thoughts on Gravity Ball? And I said, green means I like it, I might play it, or I don't really care. Or you have the stance of the red, which is not a good look for the NBA 2K franchise. And the majority of people are like, this is not a good look for the NBA 2K franchise. And I want to make a point. I'm going to read what Gravity Ball is real quick, but I want to make a point. It doesn't matter if the team behind Gravity Ball is completely separate from the dev team that works on the NBA portions and the basketball portions of NBA 2K. It's the way it looks on 2K, Andrew, right? It's the fact that this mini game or full game, however, whatever you want to look at it as, is being added to a basketball video game that a lot of people are having issues with, that they have 2K fatigue with, that they have issues with as it relates to retro content accuracy, to gameplay, all of that stuff. It doesn't matter that it's a different dev team that works on this. It's the point that this is being added to NBA 2K25.
It speaks to the priorities, doesn't it?
It does. That's what's bothering people the most. So this was the statement by Visual Concepts president Greg Thomas about Gravity Ball. He says, "Hello, 2K community. I'm thrilled to share some exciting news with you. Today, we announced Gravity Ball, the newest game from Visual Concepts South, the team behind Lego 2K Drive. Gravity Ball is a fast-paced online multiplayer game accessible through NBA 2K25's The City as an optional paid DLC, where players can team up for supercharged, futuristic experience with unconventional rules and a unique competitive thrill. This has nothing to do with basketball, but it's in a basketball video game. Take a look for yourself and watch the latest trailer on the 2K YouTube channel. Before you start playing on October 18th, I want to share a little more background on how Gravity Ball came about and why we're so excited to bring this brand new game to you. What began as a passion project from the talented Lego 2K Drive team at VC South, who also developed the track for NBA 2K25, quickly became the game we all reached for when we wanted to challenge each other around the studio. I like to think of Gravity Ball as a mashup of American Gladiators meets futuristic basketball meets paintball. Pure off-the-walls mayhem. We've had so much fun playing amongst ourselves, we knew we needed to find a way to share it with you. Leveraging NBA 2K25's platform has given us that opportunity." So in my opinion, that's leveraging NBA 2K25's platform to add a paid DLC Fortnite knockoff in order to make more money. That's the way I look at it as a consumer.
Yeah.
It continues. Every game studio, big and small, likes to try new things and bring new fun to players. Good concepts deserve a chance to find an audience. Can I just point something out? He knows this is a bad idea in this statement. Are you listening to this?
Spin, yeah.
Playing through it why this Gravity Ball game is being added to a game that's supposed to be focused on basketball.
Yeah.
Like, give it a chance. He's saying this in the opening statement for a game, give it a chance, basically. So he continues. Every game studio, big and small, likes to try new things and bring new fun to players. Good concepts deserve a chance to find an audience and shouldn't die on the cutting room floor. We hope you enjoy this game as much as we do and look forward to your feedback. Play Gravity Ball with NBA 2K25 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC for $7.99 when it launches on Friday, October 18th. We can't wait to hear from you. So he is anticipating the blowback on this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That is that is incredibly telling. He knows that this is not going to be received well, the idea of this, but they're still launching it and they're still putting it behind a paywall. So, yeah, that's something.
Well, two things. If you want futuristic basketball in NBA 2K, why don't you just remake the classic Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball? Come on, Derek, now.
I was thinking the same exact thing. I mean, the graphics wouldn't fly today, but Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball actually resembles real basketball more than this Gravity Ball game.
It certainly does. And the second point, as you alluded to there, you are putting it behind a paywall. It is paid DLC. If you want people to experience this new mode and give it a chance, don't make them pay for it. You look at all the new modes that Rocket League added for free to their game over the years, including Hoops, the basketball spin-off of Rocket Car Soccer. You know, that's how you get people to give these other modes a chance.
Yeah. I also want to point something out. So, remember, I was telling you the majority of comments are like, what the hell is this? Which it seems like the president of Visual Concepts was like, he knew this was coming, right?
Yeah.
So listen to the comments on the official introducing Gravity Ball post from 2K. The most popular comment is, "We want basketball, man. Nobody playing this dumb crap. 12K likes, 201K impressions. That's a big deal, right? That's 12K people agreeing with this guy. The next one is, I just want to play basketball. 3.9K likes, 168,000 views. Next one, all we asked you to do was fix the gameplay. Over 2,000 likes. Power DF states, if you guys want to drop a DLC, just drop the 15, 16, and 17 parks. Thanks. About 5,000 likes. So again, focused on basketball, right? If you want to drop DLC, at least focus it on basketball, and we might download that. Not this, not Gravity Ball. Next one. my NBA still has incomplete rosters and incorrect courts plus jerseys. So basically, and that has over 1,000 likes, that person is saying, you see you guys adding gravity ball, why not apply those resources to the parts of the game that need fixing? Next one. This is the reason why the product is trash. Why are you all wasting months on crap like this that nobody is going to play? You are a basketball game in all capitals. Over 4,000 likes, 153,000 views. Then what has 2K come to? I just want to load up and play basketball, man. Over 100 likes. Then Jesus, if you added these nonsense without forgetting what matters most in the game, I wouldn't care. But you do this crap, put celebrities in the game and do not update courts and players. What a horrible thing that 2K has turned into. Dude, WTF, what are you all doing? Over 8,000 likes. I swear you all just be adding anything to this game. All we want to do is play basketball, 328 likes. So this is why it took you all over a month to patch gameplay. I'm not playing Gravity Ball. Damn sure not buying it as DLC, over 800 likes. So I could go on and on and on, right? So, like, sure, there's some shills out there that are saying you don't have to buy it and whatnot, but that's the minority, Andrew. Right?
Oh, yeah, and I'm glad that it is, and that's kind of a preemptive strike on my part because I'm so sick of the shills and the apologists just shutting down all kinds of criticism, even when it is very reasonable. And I'd like to make a point here, Derek, that even if we didn't have these issues with NBA 2K, let's say NBA 2K25 was pretty perfect in every way. Historical content, accurate, none of those issues in my NBA eras, etc. And the gameplay, it was at a point where it was getting very hard to suggest how to improve it with a patch, let's say. Even if that was the case, it's the principle of the thing, using a basketball game to promote these other experiences, these other gaming experiences, like racing, Lego racing, and now this Fortnite knockoff. It's the principle of the thing, using NBA 2K to promote those and foist them upon basketball gamers. That's what people don't appreciate. Even if they don't have to play them, even if they were happy with everything else in NBA 2K25, it just feels unwelcome.
It's funny, too, that I'll say again, the fact that the president stated he knows that this is not good for a basketball video game.
Read between the lines, yeah.
He knows that this doesn't belong in a basketball video game, but they're doing it anyway.
This comes from above. The suits have demanded this.
I personally think this is just a money grab. I'm going to be completely honest. I think this is just another way to make more money. Maybe somebody who works at 2K was tasked with coming up with a mini game that, can be sold as DLC, and this is what they came up with, and then they'll track the sales progress, and then, how much did this add to our bottom line and stuff like that. Like this, I think this is absolutely silly, to be completely honest. So let's get to the community responses to my NLSC community question related to this, Andrew. Scorpion Soldier Gaming states, I'm going to say both. LOL, people can complain all they want about it, but business-wise, the city is 2K's growing social hub foundation for everything entertainment/social influence creator focused. My career mode now is just an NBA experience blended within the city ecosystem. So that's his take on it, Andrew. I disagree. I think that it's pretty matter of fact in my mind that something like this, which is a Fortnite knockoff, which also tries to take ideas, I believe, from like Rocket League and whatnot, that this has absolutely no business being in a basketball video game. If there is a social hub foundation as it relates to a basketball video game, then that social hub foundation should be built around the idea of basketball. So that is my opinion on it.
I'm with you. And certainly there are people who enjoy aspects of the city and that open world experience. I feel that it's very unnecessary and doesn't really enhance the My Career experience. In fact, it has ruined it in so much as it has made it impossible to be in offline mode. The offline My Career is no longer a thing thanks to the integration of the neighborhood and the city in recent years. And yeah, I just think the focus should really be on basketball, and the city and the neighborhood take so much of the focus away from that.
Agreed. Steven at the Live King states, 2K basically ran out of basketball ideas. They're trying to turn 2K into an ecosystem now. I don't think they've really run out of basketball ideas, Steven. I think that they're trying different ways to have more money hit the bottom line, right? Maybe they think that certain basketball ideas and certain enhancements in that regard isn't going to make people put more money into the game. I know I sound cynical here, but we've seen what's happened with this game, especially since 2K18, with this NBA 2K franchise. I think that they're also trying to still capitalize on that Fortnite player base. I know Fortnite peaked years ago, but there's still a lot of games that are popular that are using that Fortnite formula. So they think that maybe getting this game into even a basketball video game and putting it behind a paywall for $7.99 and whatnot, that they can capitalize on that audience. And I think that they also believe that a lot of the 2K player base is playing games in different genres, meaning much of their player base they think might be interested in this game because they think their player base also plays games like Fortnite. So that's just my opinion on it.
I understand wanting to cast a wide net and try to be everything for everyone and cater to a wider audience, but when you do that, you end up often drifting away from your core gameplay, the core experience, your core features, and your core user base.
Agreed, 100%. Royce states, sorry, this is a pass for me. I would like 2K to be more about basketball content, i.e. rosters, players, maybe new courts, etc., representation of the ABA. And he thinks that a game like Fortnite or FPS type games do not belong in a basketball video game. He says no disrespect to those types of games. So yeah, I don't think this belongs either.
And of course, Royce is a big fan of the Legends Showcase DLC for NBA 2K12. That is a good example of DLC, although even that was controversial at the time, Derek, because it added some content, including Legends, that weren't in the base game. So even there is some controversy.
But at least it's basketball related.
Yeah.
NBA, right? It belonged in the game.
Exactly.
A statement would need to be made from a 2K developer or suit, etc., stating, we wanted to give this a try, basically alluding to the fact that this doesn't belong in a basketball game, right?
Give Legends a chance.
Yeah, give the damn Legends a chance. 707 states, I don't see anything basketball related to this. They should be updating all the old cyberfaces that has been in the game since 2K14. Yeah, there's still quite a few of those cyberfaces, those textures, etc., from a decade ago in NBA 2K25 as it relates to the retro content. And to the point, again, I don't care if this was a different dev team that worked on Gravity Ball. That point is moot here. The way consumers are seeing this is that there's still all of these issues with the game, and this new Gravity Ball game is being added, which has nothing to do with basketball, is being added to the game that has these issues. So I just want to make that point. Roger Ward, NBA Live 2001 Legend states, WTF, is this garbage? So, what the F is this garbage? TG So Good says, I don't think NBA 2K's focus is to be an NBA video game. NBA 2K is more of a social brand and tech IP that serves as a vessel for Take-Two to gain maximum financial profitability by leveraging the NBA brand to sell digital products to kids, gambling addicts, and nostalgic fans. He goes on. Yeah, that was really well thought out and well said. He continues with, I like the NBA side of the game. It's cool, but it's not the top priority, and that makes sense because sales, profit, and influence are all part of the equation, in my opinion. If I was Zelnick, I'd aim to get my bonuses as well. Even the NBA is entertainment at the end of the day. And then he states, take my response with a grain of salt. I saw a post. I responded with the first things that came to mind. I still like NBA 2K, and I appreciate the PC release a lot. So he doesn't hate the game. He still enjoys the NBA side of the game, but he understands what they're doing with the NBA 2K franchise from a business standpoint, which is more tackling the social element of it, right? Like he states, the social brand, the tech IP, and that it's more of a leveraging of the NBA brand to basically make as much money as possible without having the focus be 100% on the NBA or basketball in general.
Indeed. We don't have to like it, but I do think that is the reality.
NBA Live BR just says, wow. So I'm assuming he's not supportive of it. King J Mace gives 3 red dots. So he agrees with the not a good look for the NBA 2K franchise. Snake says all based on money, which is, partly my opinion as well. I think a lot of this is how much money can they have hit the bottom line as it relates to this DLC. He states again, 2K should make 2 separate games, one for online and one for offline. One game should be called NBA 2K and the other should be 2K Park Online. I still think, though, that this wouldn't fit. I think even if you tried to separate the 2 games and did one offline and one online, where does Gravity Ball fit, right? Doesn't make any sense in a basketball game. Macklin McDade states, we desperately need a competitor. They release a broken game every year that seems to never be tested. Most of the game modes, especially my NBA, hasn't been touched in years, and the same bugs are present year after year. They're a monopoly crapping on their consumers. And then Nardo Crazy with 4 red dots to agree with the not a good look for the NBA 2K franchise. So those are the responses on Twitter, Andrew. I agree with Macklin McDade, who stated we desperately need a competitor. I think that there's got to be some company out there that could keep NBA 2K honest in the basketball gaming space.
I saw a video come up in my recommended on YouTube talking about the need for a competitor to NBA 2K, and while I am glad to see it, and I hope that interest is shown and that pressure is put on EA to consider that, I'm just going to say, Derek, we're ahead of the curve here. We've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, we have, and unfortunately, we haven't had a competitor since NBA Live 19. So we did receive a few responses on Discord. Brent states, shouldn't be a part of NBA 2K and is an absolute joke that it is, but I do think it looks kind of fun, LOL. I'm probably going to give it a shot. I would rather have it be $20 to $30 standalone game. Vetman states, I don't really care as long as they're giving attention to the NBA side of things, one could always say, but imagine how much better the NBA side could be if they didn't devote time and energy to this garbage. But that ignores the fact that MTX from casuals on stuff like this is probably a big part of what pays for their ability to build things like eras and various in-depth gameplay things. He states, I will continue to make fun of stuff like Gravity Ball, but it's just for laughs. I get why they do it. So it sounds like he thinks Gravity Ball also doesn't belong, including stating that he makes fun of he'll make fun of it, and he'll do it also just for laughs. But then also states he understands why they're putting it in this game. I also understand why they're doing it, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with it, Andrew, right? I understand the purpose of it being in the game. It's added DLC. It's money that can hit their bottom line. It's more money for the company and whatnot. And it's also trying to tackle that non-basketball video game base, or the basketball video game base that likes to play multiple genres. I still just don't think it belongs.
Oh, for sure. And I understand his point, obviously, and once again, there are separate teams working on this, so it hasn't directly taken away from potential improvements to the NBA side of things, but it's the optics. It's showing different priorities to what we prefer. And I just can't be that cavalier about microtransactions. Certainly the revenue helps them do incredible things, but the way they design those recurrent revenue mechanics has also really impacted the enjoyment of my career and my team. So these are problems, and we've gotten too comfortable to saying, oh, this is just business, this is capitalism. But the gameplay experience in those modes is weaker because of that, not to mention the predatory aspect of it. So while I understand the point, I just can't downplay microtransactions. I'll always push back on them.
I agree. I think the DLC and the microtransaction BS has gone just a little bit too far. So, Andrew, any final thoughts on Gravity Ball?
Well, I'm probably not going to check it out, to be honest. I might watch some videos on it just to see how people are enjoying it, see if there's any snarky commentary on it. It'll probably become a running joke on the NLSC podcast if shoelace physics are anything to go by. But yeah, this is definitely not for me. If people do want to spend their money on that and enjoy it, more power to you. But I don't think this is a good thing for NBA 2K at the end of the day, and I'm disappointed to see it.
I will not be playing it, so you will not get any gameplay feedback as it relates to Gravity Ball from me.
Honestly, Derek, I'd much rather play Garfield Kart.
Well, hey, I mean, you know what you're going to get with Garfield Kart. It's a kart racing game, and it's only a kart racing game, but with fun Garfield characters, so you can't go wrong there. So, Andrew, our last topic of the day, and this has been an issue in the modding community for a while, but it kind of took an ugly turn recently on the NLSC forums when a thread was created called Paid Mods Suck. And the person that created this thread was, just talking about how paid mods are, detrimental to the community and whatnot. And I ended up having to lock down this thread because it got pretty nasty in there and whatnot. But yeah, we wanted to discuss this issue that's at the heart of the modding community, the charging for mods and mods in general just being hidden behind paywalls.
Yeah, and it has been a growing issue in our community, and it's something that we never supported in our community. We were founded on the principles of free mods and free information for everyone. Certainly back in the early days of our community, our site has been around since 1996, of course. The facilities to charge for mods weren't always there or do so easily and securely, as is now the case. But it is something that we don't support for legal reasons as much as anything else, but also philosophical reasons as well, Derek. Fairness to the community above all.
Yeah, I have some pretty simple reasons why I don't support the promotion of paid mods. One, if we had allowed that in the NLSC community, it would have been shut down. Let's say years ago we were like, you guys can advertise paid mods. We'll support paid for mods in the download section. It more than likely we would have received some sort of cease and desist, and it's possible that the site would have been taken down, number one. Number two, it would have killed the community. I still think that the best mods that have ever been released were the major roster mods for games like NBA 2K14, NBA 2K13, NBA 2K12, even going back to 2K11 and 2K10. You and I have connected on those roster mods, right? They like the classic seasons and whatnot. They absolutely rock. If you want the best selection and volume of things like cyberfaces, courts, Dornas, scoreboards, all of that stuff, it's usually those big roster mods that you get the most content with, and those were always released for free. I've never had to go out of my way to pay for mods in order to enhance my experience with these games because of all the amazing free ones that have been released in the past. If we had allowed charging for mods years ago, let's say we started, maybe the NLC never had a rule that didn't allow charging for mods and promoting, mods behind paywalls in general, then, those roster projects that were for free, that had all these great mods inside them, etc., we may not have gotten those, Andrew.
Yeah.
Right. And there may not have been support for those, etc. And I think that the bottom line is it would have killed the community years ago. Right. I think that the NLSC wouldn't be looked at as fondly. I think it would be looked at as a unfair and sort of predatory website and forum, etc. And we definitely don't want that. Right. The other piece too is that I don't care. Somebody came into that thread and it was stating, stop trying to step on my feet. Basically, I'll do what I want. Fine, just don't do it at the NLSC, right? Yeah. You're coming into a paid mod suck thread on the NLSC, which we don't allow paid mods and the promotion of paid mods on the NLSC, stating that we're stepping on your feet. You don't have to be on the NLSC, right? Where I'm not coming after you on an external site saying stop what you're doing. Like, I can't stop what you're doing outside of the NLSC. Just don't promote that here, right? Yep. So that's the other thing is there's this thing with paid modders that sometimes they're coming onto the NLSC and being like, what the hell, guys? Like, stop trying to get in my business and everything. No, you're coming onto a site that doesn't allow paid mods promoting the idea of paid mods. It doesn't make any sense. Like, do what you want outside of the NLSC. We can't do anything about that, but we can absolutely shut that crap down on the site, right? The other piece of this is, like you stated, there is a legal part of this. There's an intellectual property portion that when you charge for mods, you're teetering on violating that, right? And we don't want our user base on the NLSC to get in trouble. We don't want the NLSC to get in trouble, etc. And, we don't want to take a chance on any of that, which is why the rules stand also on the site. So point being, I definitely do not support paid mods, and I think it would have killed the community a long time ago. And we're standing on that. Like, we're not going to start allowing them.
And to your point, sure, if you do believe that mods should be for sale, then you're absolutely free to do that elsewhere. It's kind of like our anti-piracy rules, Derek. We know people are going to do what they're going to do all around this big old internet of ours, but we're not going to allow those conversations on the site. We want to stay in good standing and not get shut down for facilitating that. Again, do what you will elsewhere. We're going to enforce the rules in our community. You are free to dislike those and disagree and again take your business elsewhere. That's democracy in action. That's capitalism, I guess. Also, it is funny how people would like to use our facilities for free to promote mods, not want to compensate us for that, or don't think that we should be compensated for that. It's wanting things for free while also wanting to profit off your work. I mean, list anything on eBay, Derek. eBay is going to take some fees, and that also includes any kind of administration, wanting us to allow that promotion free of charge, possibly stepping in when there are disputes and mediating that and trying to resolve that when we're not involved in the transaction at all. That's not really fair to us either. And yeah, just think of all the mods, as you said, that wouldn't be made, that wouldn't be possible without cooperation, without freely sharing resources, without making it freely available to the community. So, by all means, do what you want elsewhere, but, we've got our policy. It's a long-standing policy that we have, and obviously we're going to let you do what you want to do elsewhere. We can't stop you. But if you're going to be part of our party, please respect the house rules.
Exactly.
But for the most part, Derek, we do have a great thing going at the NLSC. It's been going since 1996. You and I are passionate about basketball games and creating content for them. Have some awesome modders in the community, awesome people checking out our articles and videos, and of course listening to the podcast. And we really appreciate your responses to Derek's questions and weighing in on these topics.
Yeah, I absolutely love the interaction each week. I look forward to putting out the mailbag questions. I look forward to seeing your gameplay, whether it's for the top 10 plays of the week or not. Yeah, the community's awesome. You guys are always bringing it, so thank you.
That being said, are you going to allow any Gravity Ball highlights in the top 10?
No. I am not going to allow Gravity Ball highlights in the NLSC top 10 plays of the week. However, Andrew, I am thinking about doing a blooper top 10 plays of the week. So basically like a not top 10 of just absolutely terrible plays that either you or the CPU make. And so if you want to submit those highlights to me, if something funny happens on the court or you make a bonehead play and whatnot, shoot it over to me because I'd like to put a funny compilation together. And I think the community would enjoy that.
Bit of virtual courtside comedy, Derek.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how fun were those videos back when we were younger, the blooper segments of either a highlight video or just a overall low light video. I always thought those were fun.
Dazzling Dunks and Basketball Bloopers 1 and 2, two of the best home videos of the late 80s, early 90s.
Absolutely.
With that being said, that has brought us to the end of this week's show. As always, we thank you for tuning in. Please join us again next week and every week on the NLSC, nb-live.com, our YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts. In the meantime, make sure you're following us on social media. That's where you can get in touch with us, and of course, stay up to date with all of our content. So Derek, go ahead and plug the handles.
Yeah, you can reach me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at D43G and at D4384. I'm also on the NLSC, D43, and on YouTube, D43.
As for me, I'm Andrew in the forum and Andrew NLSC on X. The NLSC is on X and Facebook at the NLSC. We're also NLSC Basketball on Instagram and Threads. We're on YouTube at NBA Live Series Center. And of course, keep a look to the NLSC itself, nb-live.com, for everything we do for basketball video games. So, thank you once again for tuning in, and until next time, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Derek.
Go get buckets, everyone!